You must extinguish this fear of failure and embrace it.
This one is like driving.
What? Indonesian people living in Africa?
Society is totally wrong.
Why do we go to school?
The universal power to touch your soul.
My internet friends are my real friends.
The worst possible thing you can do in an accident.
What is body language?
What is home? Just listen.
Why do we go to school? It's a simple question, right? Well, no, not at all. I found it the most frustrating question I've ever asked myself. We turn 5 or 6, we go to school. We spend 12 years learning. By the time we graduate, we try to have the best grades as possible as we can. What for? To go to college or university, spend another 3 or 4 years trying to end up having bachelor's or master's degree. What for? To get a job that is not even well paid, work 20 years at least, work extra hours, and then retire by the age of 60 or 70. And when finally you have a little money, a little time to do what you dreamed about doing all your life, and then you die. Well, that's not a life I want to live. So I was trying to find an answer, why do we go to school? But instead I raised more questions, such as, why do we work all our lives? Or what if money were no object? So I went on a philosophical journey trying to find an answer. At first, I had an idea of idealistic world, that there are no technologies, people live in peace sustainably, children don't go to school and learn from all the generations. But then I realized I was thinking of utopian world, a world that cannot possibly exist. And reality is more than white and black. It's so complicated that we're not able to understand it. So I started thinking, what's today's society the main need? And I realized that all our futures are based on schooling and our childhood and teenage years. So I came to a conclusion that formal education is the main need. But what are our actual needs? According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, our actual needs are first physiological: water, food, shelter. Then safety of body, health, love and belonging, friendship, families, esteem, self-confidence, respect, and self-actualization, morality, creativity, spontaneity. Formal education is not mentioned in any form of it, so why it's still today's society the main need? Everything started about 200 years ago, alongside with industrialization. Parents went to factories to work, so we had to put somewhere their kids. That's how the schools are born. Kids would go to schools to learn basic requirements to work in factories, and basic knowledge such as writing and reading. Well, the reasons why we go to school today is a bit different. First, it's the easiest way to education. But if you follow the common way and the crowd, you end up most likely working in an office and feeling like this. Second, society is unaware of our options. We're so into what we're doing that we ignore what's around us. Third, formal education is compulsory across the world, and it's just an easy way for governments to keep the control over the people and prepare them for job market. Governments say we have rights and freedom, we live in a free country, but we live our lives by conforming. Homeschooling is illegal in most Western and Eastern Europe countries and South American countries. Homeschooling is considered a crime. Most schools look like prisons, and students are being treated just like prisoners. Children are different. We have different needs. Therefore, we need different schools that focus on different aspects. For example, if a child is artistic, he should be able to go to school that focus on art and creativity. Or if a child is hyperactive, he should go to school that focus on sports and discipline. And it's completely up to a person, no matter he's 5 or 18, to decide what kind of education he wants to receive. If a 6-year-old comes to you and say, I hate school, I want to be with my mom and play all day, you should listen to him, because that's what he needs. Therefore, there's a school called Summerhill School in UK. It's a school based on democratic free schooling. It's a school that is completely run by students. Students come up with rules. They meet once a week and they vote upon the problems that arise. Many people have skeptical view towards the school, but graduates are just like our teachers. Very inspiring, they're ready to make a change in the world, and we're successfully merged into society. This guy became my hero 1 year ago. I read a book called Learning All the Time. His name is John Holt. He's an educator, and he has 3 metaphors about traditional schools. One of them states, students in a school are as laboratory rats in a cage, being trained to do some kind of trick, most often a trick that no rat in real life would ever have any reason to perform. He believes in the idea of unschooling, that children are natural learners, and we don't need to go to school, and they learn naturally by living every day, observing adults, and observing the world around them. I have few examples. A close friend of mine, who is 20 at the moment, he's a genius musician, he's very smart, he never gone to school, he's a certified EMT, and he is on his way becoming a paramedic. Another example is my friend's cousin. He has never gone to school and traveled around the world together with his parents. He went to school only that his parents built in Africa. He went to Princeton, successfully graduated, and worked as a volunteer teacher in Vietnam. And we, students that go to school, we learn 12 years, and we need to know how to cite Shakespeare, but we leave a school not knowing how to write a formal education while applying for a job. We need to know how to differentiate the equation, but we leave school not knowing how to pay the taxes every day. We need to know how chemicals are made and what happens when they react with different chemicals, but we have no first aid skills when we live in a tropical island and we ride bikes every day. So I wrote a poem, a spoken word, based on my philosophical journey or perspective to formal education. We go to school to get educated. Why? That's what today's society thinks. You get a degree and you potentially have a job. You make money and you have a secure future. Education is the key. What my parents say? My parents say, live your dreams, but get a degree. You will have lots of opportunities and your life will be easy. What about the exceptional cases? John D. Rockefeller, net worth of $320 billion. Walt Disney, Richard Branson, Albert Einstein, Henry Ford, Steven Spielberg, Thomas Edison. You see all these successful people all over the media. Guess what? None of them hold a college or university degree. Some of you might say, well, yeah, people whose success is measured by money. If these people look too much out of Wonderland for you, there are plenty of people who become successful by putting constant hard work and living by their beliefs. Let's take a look at these names. Shakespeare, Mozart, Malcolm X, Mother Teresa, Michael Tyson, Michael Jordan, Elton John. Do you see any of these people as unsuccessful or uneducated? They didn't let schooling define their futures. Education is the key, but formal education put within an institution is a narrow pathway. Education should be inspiring people and encouraging their curiosity, not filling their heads. I came to question the purpose of formal education, only spent sleepless nights memorizing facts, equations, dates, with a Red Bull can in my hand. I got tired of teachers with no faces. If you're not straight A student, you would get excluded. I would sit in a class and leave with getting nothing out of it. Every day I would see the same gray student badge, but I thought, no, you're not gonna catch me in your cheap trap. Students look like robots in warm bodies. They've got empty souls. They don't follow their dreams. Their daily reality is online. People say, what's wrong with this generation? Well, how can we follow our dreams when we're trapped in this matrix, network of fakeness and generalization? This is it. We need to rethink the aspirations and redefine the goals of education. That is completely transforming. Now, I'm not saying that schools are worthless and we need to get rid of them. I'm very fortunate I had a chance to come to Green School, a school that realizes this message and spreads the word. A school itself is far from perfect, as the rest of the world is, but that taught me some great lessons. Let kids follow their own dreams. Look at Mozart. His education was music that is played till today. Shakespeare. His education was written word and his passion. And it's still read few centuries later. Well, even Dick and Mac McDonald received an appropriate education to create McDonald's, right? Once, I listened to my little brother play the piano. He was no older than 11 at the time. He didn't stumble a single note. He was so into it. It was so natural for him that he played with closed eyes. I listened while he played. The music was coming from his heart. He finished with a sad note. I snapped out of the magic and looked at him. We smiled at each other, and I walked away thinking for myself, wow, there are so many ways we can get educated. So, after my philosophical journey, I came up with a definition and perspective that changed over the time to formal education, and that is, education is not a paper with grade on it. It's an experience of life. Education is about failures and how much you make out of it. It's about encouraging curiosity and creativity, not restraining it. Oneself can survive with no schooling, but one cannot live with no education. Thank you.